You swiped your card this week. Groceries, gas, maybe a coffee. Nothing unusual about it, but the gears are turning. Every time you use that plastic, someone is making money, and it isn't you. This profit doesn't require you to be careless. The system is designed to monetize your most basic, responsible habits. The credit card industry's true profit machine runs on the steady routines of daily life, not just the occasional financial mistake. Most of us think that if we earn cash back and pay our bills in full, we've outsmarted the banks. But even when you pay on time, those swipes generate revenue for the issuer. Your smart habits are still part of the equation. This creates the ideal customer. You spend consistently and pay reliably, providing a predictable stream of profit month after month. The industry wants you to feel like you're winning the rewards game. That psychological state keeps the engine running without being questioned. Pull up your latest statement and look for anything listed under fees, annual charges, foreign transaction fees, or late penalties. Call the number on the back of your card and ask specifically to have those charges waived. Many issuers will reverse these costs for customers who generally pay on time, simply because you took the initiative to ask. Auditing your statement disrupts the passive acceptance of these costs, a passivity that financial institutions rely on for consistent revenue. This scale represents the bet card issuers make when they approve an account. They calculate that the extracted revenue will eventually outweigh the cost of maintaining you. The mathematical odds of this wager are tilted in their direction from the first day your account is open. This advantage is built on 3 specific revenue streams that allow the issuer to profit from different types of consumer behavior. When you view this as a calculated wager, you stop being a passive participant and start actively protecting your capital. The first pillar is interest. Carrying a balance from one month to the next is the most traditional way these companies generate income. The second pillar consists of fees. Late charges and cash advance penalties act as direct drains on your account that often go unnoticed. The third pillar is merchant fees. Every time you swipe, a small percentage of the purchase is siphoned off the top and paid by the business to the card network. You don't see this fee, but it occurs during millions of daily swipes, regardless of whether the customer is responsible or not. This revenue stream generates profit even when a customer never pays a cent in interest or late fees. By taxing the infrastructure of commerce itself, the issuer ensures they make money even from those who use their cards perfectly. It seems like a paradox. You can do everything right, and the company still ends up ahead. If the system is designed to win across all 3 pillars, is there a way for the individual to actually gain the upper hand? While merchant fees are unavoidable infrastructure, interest remains the largest profit engine for the industry as a whole. This specific pillar, the most profitable one, is the only part of the machine that you can control directly. By adopting the habit of paying your balance in full every single month, you effectively shut down the primary source of revenue the issuer expects from your account. Once you stop being a source of interest, you move from being the company's biggest profit driver to a customer they actually have to pay to keep. Credit card companies make money in 3 specific ways: through the interest they charge you, the fees you pay for certain services or penalties, and the merchant charges they collect from stores every time you swipe. While all 3 matter, interest is the primary driver of their revenue. It functions through a set of background mechanics that most people don't see until they're already caught in them. Understanding how this one mechanism works changes your relationship with the card issuer. It moves you from being their source of profit to simply using their tools for free. When you buy something with a credit card, you are borrowing money. The issuer pays the merchant on your behalf, and you become the debtor. You aren't expected to pay immediately. Issuers provide a grace period, a window of about 25 to 30 days, to return the money without added cost. If you pay the full balance within this window, the interest charge is 0. You borrowed, used, and returned it. As long as you hit that deadline, the transaction is effectively a short-term, interest-free loan. But the moment you leave even a small portion of that balance unpaid past the deadline, the terms of the agreement shift. The issuer begins charging interest on whatever amount remains on the account. There is a secondary effect many people miss. Carrying that balance often removes the grace period for new purchases. Now, instead of getting 30 days of free borrowing, new charges can start building interest immediately. It's similar to a library. Normally, you borrow a book and return it on time for free. But if you return one book late, the library might charge you a daily fee for every new book you check out until your account is fully caught up. On a credit card, those new purchases will continue to accumulate interest every day until the entire original balance is paid off. Carrying a balance changes the card from a payment tool into a continuous debt generator. This happens because of the math. Most cards determine interest based on your balance every single day, not just at the end of the month. These daily amounts are added to the account, causing the total debt to grow faster than expected. This is why someone can carry a $3,000 balance, make payments every month for a year, and realize they have made almost no progress on the original debt. From the cardholder's perspective, the monthly payment feels like real progress because money is leaving their bank account. But as this breakdown shows, the minimum payment is often set low enough that a massive share goes toward the interest that just accumulated, leaving only a tiny fraction to actually reduce the principal debt. You are putting in the financial effort, but mathematically, you are staying in the same place. For the banks, this interest is the largest source of profit from individual cardholders. Late fees are smaller by comparison, and merchant fees are spread across millions of users. Interest is what drives the whole system. However, that engine only runs if the cardholder chooses to carry a balance. To stop it, you have to follow one rule: pay the full statement balance before the due date every single month. By doing this, the issuer earns zero interest from you. The grace period stays active, and you continue to use their money for free. It allows you to use the bank's capital for 30 days at a time without paying for the privilege. While the rule is simple to state, many people find it difficult to follow consistently. This usually isn't due to a lack of intent, but rather specific habits and common misunderstandings about how the billing cycle actually functions. Knowing the math is the first step towards stopping the cycle. The next is identifying the specific mistakes that keep the engine running. You might think credit card companies make their billions exclusively off people who are completely reckless with their money, but their business model relies on the exact opposite. They are highly optimized to quietly siphon wealth from perfectly normal, everyday financial habits. If you catch yourself falling into these traps, it does not mean you are bad with money. In fact, these actions feel completely logical and responsible in the moment. But beneath the surface, these minor, unnoticeable leaks are what keep the industry's profit machine running year after year. Today, we are going to walk through the 5 specific everyday spending habits that are silently draining your wealth. Once you see how these 5 invisible leaks function, you can finally stop unknowingly padding their profit margins with your own money. The first major leak usually starts with a perk. You print your daily purchases on a rewards card to earn points or cash back, but end up leaving a balance on the card at the end of the month. Because you see those reward points ticking up, your brain tells you that you are coming out ahead on the deal. This animated chart breaks down the actual math behind that feeling. You earn a tiny fraction in cash back, but the interest charges you pay on that carried balance completely consume those earnings. The system only works in your favor when you clear the entire balance every 30 days. If you do not, you are essentially buying your own rewards and then handing the bank a premium on top. That leads directly to the second leak: zeroing in on a low minimum monthly payment instead of looking at the total cost of your debt. This timeline illustrates how a $50 minimum payment turns a moderate credit card balance into a multi-year commitment. Watch what happens when we calculate the total cost over the life of that balance. The final amount you pay ends up dwarfing the original price tag. When you optimize for immediate perks or a low monthly bill, you are opting into a mathematical formula that guarantees a long-term financial loss. The third leak has less to do with math and more to do with the physical experience of buying. People simply spend more money when they use a card instead of cash. When you hand over a $20 bill, you physically feel the loss of that money. But tapping a piece of plastic on a payment terminal takes a fraction of a second and requires zero effort. Because there is no friction, your brain fails to process the transaction as a real, immediate loss of resources. Credit card networks rely on this exact psychological disconnect. Higher spending volume means larger balances, which quickly translates into more interest and fee revenue moving through their system. Then there is the fourth leak, which amplifies all the others: opening brand new credit lines just to capture sign-up bonuses. A $200 reward for opening an account sounds exactly like free money. But every new account introduces fresh liabilities. You now have a new temptation to carry a balance, a potential annual fee you might forget about, and a higher risk of missing a payment deadline. This network visualization demonstrates what happens without a centralized system. Your ability to track your total spending and total debt fractures across multiple uncoordinated apps and statements. Combining a psychological detachment from your spending with a complex web of accounts turns perceived financial perks into actual expensive liabilities. The fifth and most expensive leak on this list happens entirely in your own head, telling yourself you will pay off the balance later. You put a couch or a plane ticket on the card, and you construct a mental plan to pay it off over the next few months without ever writing that budget down on paper. This calendar grid shows the reality of those mental plans. The furnace breaks or the car needs repairs, and that intended payoff date gets pushed into the future. As soon as that payment is delayed, interest immediately begins compounding on top of the original purchase. The entire interest model of the credit card industry functions because millions of consumers have good intentions that simply fail to translate into immediate action. Every single one of these 5 everyday habits actively feeds the card company's profit machine. But because these are predictable and ingrained habits, every single one of them has a specific, manageable fix. Coming up next, we are going to lay out a comprehensive step-by-step system to take complete control of your credit cards. By replacing these hidden leaks with a conscious, deliberate strategy, you can finally stop handing your hard-earned money to the credit card industry for free. You understand the credit card trap. The system is engineered to keep you locked in a cycle of minimum payments and compounding interest. To dismantle this profit engine, you need to execute 6 specific actions in a precise order. These steps require no complex spreadsheets. Success relies on shifting your daily habits to move your accounts from a state of penalty to a state of total control. Implementing this process is the difference between being a source of revenue for the banking system and being an empowered cardholder who pays nothing in fees. The first move is to set up autopay for your full statement balance. Paying the full statement balance every month utilizes the grace period. This neutralizes the interest engine on regular purchases, letting you use the bank's money at zero cost. Access account settings, configure payment for the exact due date, and select the full statement balance. If you're currently carrying a balance that you cannot pay off immediately, move to step 2. Look at your total debt and pick a realistic target date. Divide that total by the remaining months to get your monthly payoff number. Set this as a recurring payment. Treat this amount as a non-negotiable bill, just like rent or electricity. Automating these 2 steps simultaneously prevents any new debt from building while you methodically destroy your existing balance. Step 3 is a tactical adjustment. Review your recent statements to find your single highest discretionary spending category, usually things like delivery apps, coffee runs, or online shopping. For the next 30 days, switch all spending in that one category to a debit card or physical cash. Changing the payment method reintroduces friction into the process. The loss of capital feels immediate, which leads many people to spend less without even thinking about it. Step 4 is your weekly 5-minute money check. Pick one day a week to spend 5 minutes looking at your checking account and credit card balances. You don't need any special apps for this. This habit catches overspending early. It ensures you stay aware of your situation and prevents that feeling of shock when the statement closes at the end of the month. While your payments are automated, your spending requires manual friction. This balance of automation and awareness keeps your payoff plan on track. Step 5 involves lowering costs. Call your card issuer and ask for a lower interest rate. This chart shows the benefit of a rate reduction. A lower rate redirects your money away from bank charges and puts it directly toward the principal debt, making your balance shrink faster. Tell the representative you have been a customer for a long time and that you pay on time. A solid history is your best leverage for this negotiation. Step 6 is building a 1-month cash buffer in your checking account. This buffer is the safety net for your entire system. It eliminates the stress of timing your paydays with your card's due date, ensuring that your autopay always has the funds it needs. Start by setting aside a small amount from each paycheck. It doesn't have to happen overnight. Even building it gradually makes the system more sustainable. A cash buffer acts as a shock absorber for your finances. It keeps your automated payments running smoothly, regardless of when your bills happen to fall. Your system is now operational. Autopay is running, your payoff plan is active, and you have introduced friction to your highest spending category. Your weekly checks maintain your awareness, while negotiated rates and a cash buffer protect your progress from outside stress. This setup makes you the least profitable kind of customer for a credit card company. You gain control by using the system's own rules to your advantage, avoiding interest whenever possible while keeping the convenience of credit. Mastering your debt is about dictating the terms of your financial relationship. You take an aggressive stance to ensure the tools of credit work for you rather than against you. If this helped you see how credit interest works, hit the like button. Send this to someone stuck in a cycle of debt. Comment full balance if you're starting today, and subscribe for new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. I'll see you in the next one.